Kyiv on Saturday in Paris hints United States of America, U.S. President-elect Donald Trump that Ukraine needed just and enduring peace, that Russians under the leadership of President Vladimir Putin can't destroy in few years, with the Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy also stating how Russia is trying to subjugate Georgia after many wars against the country. Zelenskyy stated this in a statement issued last Sunday, giving out brief report of the outcome from the meeting he had with the U.S. President-elect Donald Trump, French President Emmanuel Macron at the Élysée Palace during the Notre Dame Cathedral's reopening ceremony of the church building that caught fire in 2019. Yesterday, I visited President Emmanuel Macron at the Élysée Palace and had a good meeting with President Donald Trump. We discussed important issues on the battlefield and in the global situation, from our front lines to North Korea. I stated that we need a just and enduring peace, one that the Russians will not be able to destroy in a few years, as they have done repeatedly in the past. This is clear not only for our country and region. We see how Russia is now trying to subjugate Georgia after several wars against that country. Russia still does not want to ease its grip on Moldova. Now the Russians are retreating from Syria, but that does not mean they will not try to sow death there again. Russian military presence is also active in Africa, with the sole purpose of destabilization. Therefore, when we talk about effective peace with Russia, we must first and foremost talk about effective guarantees for peace. Ukrainians want peace more than anyone else. Russia brought war to our land, and it is Russia that most seeks to disrupt the possibility of peace. Updated data on Russian losses show over 750,000 casualties, including 198,000 killed and more than 550,000 wounded. Our people are defending their homes at the cost of their lives, and every life of our soldiers and our civilians is precious to us. Since the start of the full-scale war, Ukraine has lost 43,000 soldiers killed in action on the battlefield. There have been 370,000 cases of medical assistance for the wounded. It also needs to be mentioned that in our army approximately half of the soldiers wounded in action are later returning to the battlefield, and that our data also includes light or repeat injuries. One of the key distinctions between the Russian army and Ukraine's defense forces is the level of frontline medicine, which is significantly higher in our forces. We are deeply grateful to everyone who supports its development, saves our wounded in action, and facilitates their rehabilitation. Since September this year, Russia has been losing troops on the battlefield at a ratio of 5:1, or even 6:1, compared to us. They want to seize more land before global pressure on them becomes unbearable. Additionally, we must not forget our people in Russian captivity, thousands of both military personnel and civilians, some of whom have been held since 2014, when the occupation began. Since February 24, 2022, we have already managed to bring 3,935 of our people home, 3,767 soldiers and 168 civilians. But we must bring everyone back, and much work remains to be done. We must also establish the truth about all our people who are missing. We must also remember the Ukrainian children deported by Russia. Russians themselves admit that these abducted children number in the hundreds of thousands, dispersed across their territory. Returning them is the most challenging task. On the occupied territories of Ukraine, at least several million people remain. This is the reality of this war. It cannot simply end with a piece of paper and a few signatures. A ceasefire without guarantees can be reignited at any moment, as Putin has already done before. To ensure that Ukrainians no longer suffer losses, we must guarantee the reliability of peace and not turn a blind eye to occupation. We know Putin very well. He is addicted to war. He began his career with a brutal war against Chechnya and has been constantly fueling other wars. He can only be stopped by strength, the strength of world leaders who can become leaders of peace. We count on America and the entire world to help stop Putin. The only things he fears are America and global unity. It is precisely such peace through strength that we discuss with all our partners, as well as the steps and guarantees needed for the people and the state attacked by Russia. War cannot be endless, only peace must be permanent and reliable. After meeting with the President of Georgia in Paris, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy said that he expressed Ukraine's full support and solidarity with the Georgian people, who are fighting for their dignified future, and emphasized that respecting the will of the Georgian people and preventing Ivanishvili's government from surrendering the country to Putin is essential for the stability and future of the region. For Russia, this is not just about Georgia, it is about control of the Black Sea region, a strategic Russian goal that poses a threat to the national security of everyone in the region and across Europe. I assured President Zelenskyy that Ukraine will coordinate with partners, not just in Europe but globally, to deliver a systemic response and support the Georgian people in defending their right to live freely and independently. Reacting to last weekend attacks in Ukraine, Zelenskyy said, Russia's words mean nothing, but their bombs and missiles speak volumes. On the evening of St. Nicholas Day, aerial bombs in Zaporizhia hit a service station directly, cars with people inside. As of now, 4 people are known to be wounded and are receiving medical assistance. Tragically, the list of fatalities includes 9 names. In Kryvyi Rih, a missile strike targeted an ordinary city building, injuring 17 people and killing 2. And these are just 2 Russian attacks on 2 Ukrainian cities in a single day. Thousands of such strikes Russia has carried out during this war make it absolutely clear. Putin does not seek real peace. He seeks the ability to treat any country this way, with bombs, missiles, and all other forms of violence. Only through strength can we resist this, and only through strength can real peace be established. I thank everyone who is supporting Ukraine's efforts. May the memory of all the victims of Russian terror be eternal. Okhmat died. I congratulated the young patients on St. Nicholas Day, spoke with the children, their parents and doctors. This war has brought so many things into our children's lives that should never be part of childhood. Yet, despite it all, they remain children, and we must do everything to ensure they have a happy and safe childhood. We are proud of our children and everyone who fights and works for their future. On Friday, Zelenskyy in a video press release said Russia tried to overrun Ukraine's air defense system yesterday morning. Today, Russia attempted to overload our air defense systems, as they always do during such massive attacks. This time, they deliberately waited for freezing weather to strike, aiming to make life even harder for people. The attack coincided with a cold snap, a deliberate, cynical act of terror against people. Every missile was directed at energy infrastructure, but thanks to the accuracy of our defenders and the reliability of our air defense systems, many lives were saved. Each time Russia launches new strikes against our country, it underscores an objective need, steps that show Putin his terror will not succeed. Instead of seeking ways to end the war, he uses missiles. It is war and intimidation that keep the Russian throne under this person. However, our partners should not be concerned with how to ensure the stability of such figures in Moscow. Instead, they should focus on guaranteeing stability for themselves and the world, stability and security that are only possible through peace. I am deeply grateful to everyone who helps us bring peace closer, he said.
Bringing you the news in a more digital way.